Okay, it's time for another update on Asteroid Commander. Let's just get right into it here. And I'm going to go full screen. And first thing I have to do is reset the map. And now we'll run the main program. Okay, so it looks the same as last time, but I have added a few things. Let's just read this here. I'm going to be changing this text, but for now, this is good enough. We got our headquarters. We got to put our emergency medical station, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so use our mouse to click on the navigation buttons to move around the asteroid. I'm not going to be changing that to also say click anywhere on the asteroid. Then when you found the building site you want, click the bulldozer button to level the site. Then click the build button and select infrastructure and then headquarters. So we'll go to a site we want. I like this one, and we'll demolish it. Now there's no animation going on here. There's no animation going on up here. Let's see. We've got our area level. What do we have to do? We'll go down to the bottom again. Eventually I'm going to make it so I can click and drag on this indicator here, but I haven't got that far yet. So we've got our site level. Click the build button and select infrastructure and then headquarters. So we'll click on our build button, select infrastructure and then headquarters, orbiting on the Morningstar, land. Again, there's no animation going on here. There's no animation going on here. There's no animation going on here either. All that's happening is that the pallets are cycling. There are 16 pallets, and this little flash of light every 16th pallet. The pallets are cycling once every 1/5 of a second, so you'll see a little flash of light about every 3 seconds there. When we click on this here, we've got our nuclear power plant has to be placed. Move to the building site next to the headquarters and click the build button. I should mention this. I've done the math on this, and an asteroid of about this size and about this composition would have an escape velocity at the surface of about 1.25 meters per second. So a normal walking speed, you would enter orbit, and a fast walk, you would achieve escape velocity and would just coast off into space until your air ran out and you died. So anyone has to be moving around, has to be doing so in tunnels, and anything on the surface has to be moving no faster than about 2 feet per second, or it'll enter orbit. Okay, so move to any building site next to the headquarters and click the bulldozer button to level the site, then click the build button, select infrastructure and power plant. So I'm going to bulldoze 2 sites here, one next to the headquarters and one that isn't next to the headquarters. And again, there's no animation happening there. All that's happening is the pallets are cycling. So the build button comes up because I am in a level area. I can go infrastructure, but there's no land button here because I am not next to the headquarters, not next to an existing building. We have to go to this spot, which is next to an existing building. Now we can land. So again, no animation. It's just pallet cycling. So we can look at our power plant from any angle. You can see the cooling towers, bright red in the dark, but when the terminator line crosses, now they don't look quite so bright, because it's full daylight. Anyway, Next thing we've got is the habitat. Next to an existing building, choose one of the building sites next to an existing building to place our habitat. We just happen to have a level area right here. So we go life support, habitat level 1, orbiting on the morning star. And there we go. And now we've got our habitat, and we can rotate around and look at the habitat from any angle. You can see it's also got a flashing light on the top. And the greenhouse. Now, the thing to note here is this scroll bar. Here we've got a very short message. It's only 13 lines long, so we can only go up and down once because there's 12 items being shown. If we go back into the message archive, let's look at a longer message. Again, we got more lines of text. This scroll bar indicator is shorter and it moves a little less than the other one did. Let's look at an even longer one, the very first one. Again, the scroll bar is just a little bit shorter and it moves a little bit less. Sometimes it doesn't move when I click down. But how did I achieve that? How did I get that? Now, this involves a couple of things. First of all, I've got 13 tiles from here to here to have this scroll bar indicator. So I've divided that up into half tiles. So you can see here, this one starts at the very top of the tile, and if I go down one, now it's halfway. So I've got like 6 tiles altogether, including the up and down arrow that I'm using, just stringing them together to make these images. The important thing is I've got 26 half tiles, and I've got to make this indicator proportional to the ratio of the number of items being shown divided by the number of items in the list altogether. In this case, the total number of lines of text, I think it's like 30 in this particular one, or 31 in this particular message, and there's only 12 being shown. So this here has to be 12 times 26 divided by 31 half tiles. So how did I do that division? The maximum number of items in any list I determined would be greater than 32 but less than 63. So I just said 63 is the maximum number of items in a list. Let's just have a quick look at how I did this. Scrollbar routine is up in banked RAM. I had about 1.5 kilobytes of space, and I figured this was a good use of that space. So let's just go to DSC slash, and here we are up in bank 5. All this does is calls these 4 subroutines. The first one clears the scroll bar image. The second one gets the scroll bar parameters. The 2 parameters that you need are the length of the scroll bar and the Y offset. Then it just makes the scroll bar image from those 2 parameters and pushes that scroll bar image to Vera. The important one here is GSCP, the get scroll bar parameters. So let's go to GSCP. And this does 2 divisions. The first one, the denominator is loaded into the Y register, and that's the total number of items in the list. The length of the scroll bar is going to be stored in temp 1, and the Y offset will be stored in temp 2, and both of these are in half tile increments. So the first one here, I take the maximum number of items shown. I load A with a small correction value. It's either 0 or 1, and it's because the division is not exact. And I store the maximum number of items shown in temp 2. So temp 2 is the numerator y is the denominator, and now we do the division with dv slash y, and here's dv slash y. I'm going to show you in mode 2 because it makes it a little easier to read. This here is the entire division subroutine. It takes on average 57 cycles to do a 6-bit division. I'll say that again for those hardcore programmers out there. 57 cycles for 6-bit division. And it's because of this BBR command, this set of BBR commands. There's 8 of them, BBR 7 through BBR 0. And all these are doing is checking the bits of the numerator. If the bit is reset, if the bit is 0, it skips the addition. If the bit is set, it does the addition. And it's adding according to the y index, which is the denominator, these 6 tables, SO5 through SO0. Go to SO/5, and I'll hit F3 so you can see the entire table. These are all just 64-byte tables. And that gives me the entire division function. Just these 6 tables of 64 bytes each gives me 6-bit division. You could do the same thing with 8-bit division with 8 tables of 256 bytes each. And it would be almost as fast, about 30% slower. Now, how did I come up with those tables? Let's just go over here to those tables. What I've got here is 45/46 is just a value we came up with empirically. It's just a little less than 1. And if we look here at this row here, these are just the 2 to the power of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And this here is our denominator, the total number of items in the list. So if we go to 12 here, we have 13 items in the list, like that last, let's just go back here. If we go back to this greenhouse one, there's only 13 lines of text and there's 12 of them shown. So our scroll bar length is 24 half tiles. Where's my cursor? There we are. We have 13 items shown, and 12 is 16, and 8 is 24 out of 26 half tiles. And so that's our length of our scroll bar, is 24 half tiles. And yeah, this works for all 64. Basically, I've just taken the integer value of 1/2 plus my little correction here times 2 to the power of whatever bit it is, in this case 2 to the power of 3, times 26 divided by the denominator. And so that's how it created all of these tables. I actually just entered them manually using the metal editor, but you can generate with spreadsheet and have it generate a file that will be directly readable by the Commander X16. I was very, very proud of this. Very proud of this little division subroutine because it is so fast. And so I really wanted to share this division subroutine with everybody. Use this if it's, or something like it, if you want to do multiplication or division. Something like this can be very, very fast. And anyway, that's the update for this time. Until next time, have fun.